Hi guys, well as you can see the rainy season has finally begun. That's what I woke up to this morning off my balcony, and I think the rainy season is a little bit late this year. It normally starts at the beginning of April and runs through till about the beginning of October. But don't worry, if you're coming out here anytime during the next few months, it doesn't rain all the time. It does rain most days, but for an hour or two you'll get the odd day where it rains all day, but it's very rare. Okay, let's get into the first of three stories today.
สวัสดีค่ะ
My first story to Thailand began April 12, 2023. In other words, the beginning of the first full-blown Songkran Water Festival in Bangkok since before COVID-19. I'm an American who was in his early 60s, was retired, and I've never visited Southeast Asia. I was planning some of the hotel and city schedule destinations by air was to do Bangkok long enough to recoup from the anticipated jet lag, try Jomtien for a few days at the Jomtien Thani Hotel near the beach, switch to the central Pattaya near Witherspoons, and also sample Hua Hin. Settled in Bangkok, I left my hotel to explore Soi 22. I think it was my second full night in the city. Not knowing where to go or what to do there, despite a year or so back in the US watching Thai expat YouTubers, I made my way past various massage parlours with ladies seated out front, something the women working US spas don't do. Although people on the opposite side of the Soi were doing some festive spraying and splashing, this was not the case on the side featuring most of the little spas. I walked the length of the Soi that had massage spots, sampling the eye candy while deciding which one to try. At one of them, a couple of blocks after the Marriott, I inquired about prices and menu. I picked the prettiest girl to my taste, a full-figured Isan girl of around 24. I can't recall whether it was she or the manager who asked if I wanted body-to-body, since there isn't such an option in the States. I had zero clue what body-to-body entailed. Someone gave me a thumbnail idea of what was involved. What the heck, it's a vacation, right? To my slight surprise, the girl walked me upstairs from the street. I couldn't even tell they had a second floor, another difference from US spots. Her generous rear swaying a few steps above me, black yoga pants. Once inside the room, she explained a bit more about how things work. Needless to say, I had a great experience in the massage shop. The last time I visited there, that week, the first girl was working, but the staff were fully engaged with water fights, and she was uninterested in heading upstairs. I walked down the block to a smallish alley bar where the pretty 40-ish owner, Lau, told me her girls service clientele upstairs for 1,000 baht. Although her staff were attractive and some were being chatted up by Westerners, I passed. In Jomtien, I sampled the largest night market, witnessed front desk staff hosing down a passerby. I enjoyed my view and hotel breakfast, and one night hired a freelancer that I had met down on a quieter section of Beach Road. She was in denim shorts, seated on a curb. We're still in touch, as she also came to my eventual Central Pattaya hotel, but she spends a lot of time in her home province. Super quiet girl, maybe 32. I remained in the kingdom around 27 days. 5 of them in Hua Hin, where I stayed at a hotel owned by a lady. There, my physical escapades took on the second floor of 2 massage parlours with women in their late 30s. Central Pattaya was, of course, sensory overload of street food, live DJ music, beer bars and massage shops, and lovely barbers. Lots of strolling Isan freelancers. I didn't use Thai Friendly or Tinder in Central Pattaya. I approached ladies in the outdoor markets or 7-Elevens near the end of my stay. A beautiful tan girl of maybe 38 came to my room for a couple of nights of non-transactional fun while on holiday from her job at a tiny nearby bar. She genuinely liked me, had some free time and never asked me for money. We had smoothies together. The afternoon I was leaving for the US, when I got home she texted me, clean selfie, photos for a few weeks. Super limited English, great girl. When I flew back to Thailand in June 2023, she was always busy with work, but we bumped into each other 3 or 4 times. My second trip was mostly spent in Central Pattaya, though I did get up to Hua Hin twice, and there enjoyed aerobics with the same two massage girls. My third time in Thailand began last September, and I begin to use Thai Friendly. I also looked for a condo, which I have since found. A good portion of the Thai-friendly connections proved to be freelancers, some Thai-friendly contacts, and a couple of ladies I knew from previous stays. Of course, I watch your channel regularly, and I said hello to you once in Witherspoons in Pattaya last summer. I should probably add I've met some girls who work in jobs such as tour guide, online chef business, and bartender for good non-transactional fun. I curtailed my apartment aerobics after the first 3 months, since I'm no longer on holiday. I'm leaning towards a move from Jomtien to Hua Hin, a city Thais and many expats say they find boring, but I think it's a great place to live if you're living here full time. Okay, so I do remember this guy. I was having, I think it was lunch in Witherspoons. That's just at the beginning of Soy Bacau in Pattaya. And I can't remember his name. I'm terrible with names. If you're watching this, sorry about that. But I do remember you. I can see your face. And you very kindly treated me to lunch, as I remember. Good to hear from you. And thank you very much for sending those stories. And if you've got any more, they're always welcome. Okay, right, let's jump into story number 2. I am a 52-year-old guy from England, and I had visited Thailand many times in my late 20s, mainly based in party destinations like Phuket, Pattaya, Bangkok, Koh Samui, so I know the ropes with regards to the nightlife scene. I had overdone it a bit in my younger days and had vowed never to go back to the bar scene. I had been back to Thailand, Vietnam, Philippines and Cambodia in the subsequent years, and I was in a relationship. I kept my resolve and stayed clear of the ladies. Fast forward to late 2023 and my world suddenly turned upside down. My ex was diagnosed with cancer and had to go through surgery and chemotherapy. My elderly dad had started to show signs of dementia, and the icing on the cake, I lost my job of 30 years. Although I'm not usually the sort to wallow in my own misery, the last year really was a kick in the head. My ex fortunately survived the chemo and was in recovery by January. Although we are no longer together, we are still really close friends. She could see that I was burnt out and in need of a break and was encouraging me to use my new unemployed status as an opportunity to do some travelling before attempting to find work. She assured me that she was almost back to full health and that she had her sisters to help her if anything cropped up. Thrilled at the prospect of travelling again, I started to look at my options. As per usual, the default in Southeast Asia is safe, it's cheap and it's fun. I was telling all of this to a friend at the gym, and he told me that his extended family lease a condo in Hua Hin, which they use between themselves as a sort of timeshare. He told me that nobody was using this between February and April, and I could use it free of charge as long as I was out by the week before Songkran. Perfect, I thought, free accommodation, and I already loved Thailand. So I booked my flights and dreamed of long, healthy runs along the beach, doing some daily Muay Thai classes, some yoga, eating great food, and generally recharging my batteries. Definitely no late nights or bar girls, just pure healthy living. Come home suntanned, a few kilos lighter, and a lot happier. What could possibly go wrong? Everything, it turned out. A few days before I departed, I somehow managed to badly sprain my foot while out running, and I could barely walk the next day. This wasn't going to stop me going though, but it meant a little rethink of what I was going to do when I got there. So finally, I arrived in Thailand and made my way down to Hua Hin in a taxi. I'm sure it's a lovely place with loads to do, but to me, a single guy with a swollen foot, it was about the most boring place on the planet. I just couldn't find much to fill my day apart from sitting on the beach with the donkeys. After a week or so, I started to be a bit more mobile. By this point, my evening beers had turned into early afternoon beers, and I was aware this was a slippery slope. So with this backdrop, it's almost a sure sign of what was to follow. I decided I'd visit a few beer bars, chat to some expats, and maybe play a few games with the bar girls. All good, clean fun, as long as I stick to buying an occasional lady drink and nothing else. Under no circumstances did I intend to bar fine. I just didn't want to get into that lifestyle again. I ventured out and I found the nightlife area at Soy 80. I have to say I was very disappointed with the quality. This is no Bangla Road or Therme Cafe. Still, I was only there for a beer and a chat, so I had a good time, bought a few ladies' drinks and went home alone, as I planned. I repeated this again the next night, different bar, different ladies, same outcome. The third night is when it all went horribly wrong. I had discovered that 7-Eleven sold a drink I used to buy in Korea. It's called soju, and it's very strong. I had a few bottles of this in the afternoon. The problem I find with solo drinking is that it's quite hard to gauge how drunk I am. It's safe to say that I was pretty drunk by the time the evening came. My plan was to head down to another nightlife area called Wonderland off Soi 94. My memories of the night are very hazy, but I do seem to remember the ladies were a higher quality than the previous few nights. Everything after my first beer is pretty much forgotten. I woke up the next day in a strange hotel. Beside me was a lovely new friend from last night. I did well to have the presence of mind not to take a bar girl back to the condo, but that's where my common sense ended. When she woke up, we chatted a bit and finished the leftovers from last night. Breakfast beer, very classy. A very nice lady though. I gave her 2,000 baht. We said goodbye and I hobbled back to my condo. It was over the next few hours I started to get flashbacks as to what had happened the night before. Normally, I'd be proud of myself for managing multiple performances in one evening, despite being 52 and full of alcohol. But I think that's more down to my lady's talent than anything else. The one memory that horrifies me is that I remember the last time was without protection. This is just the biggest no-no there is. How could I have been so stupid? As I sobered up, I became disgusted with myself. My dream of healthy holiday had turned into an alcoholic nightmare. Now I have added highly risky behaviour on top of that. I knew I had to get out of Hua Hin ASAP or I would just drink away the rest of my holiday. I arranged to hire a motorbike for a few weeks and decided that a road trip would be the answer to all my woes. I had a lovely, mellow first week on the bike. I found the paradise I was after. Beautiful quiet roads, deserted beaches and jungles, outstanding food, nice people and no farang anywhere. This was the Thailand of my dreams. I started to get distracted by a bit of an itch, a bit of a discomfort even in the downstairs department. I kept trying to tell myself that this was just being on a saddle in the hot sun for hours at a time. A bit of sweat, poor hygiene perhaps. Or was it something I caught on that crazy night in Hua Hin? I convinced myself that I had contracted an STD, a swift detour to somewhere I could get checked out. In this case, I reckon Phuket would likely have an English-speaking clinic that would specialise in these things without being judgmental. I arrived in Patong Beach and straight in for tests. If you've ever had to go for these tests, it's neither pleasant nor dignified. To my great relief, the test came back negative for all the usual suspects, but I would have to wait a few weeks before I could get the big H test results. The doctor was very nice and reassuring. She said it's very rare to catch the big H through standard male-female aerobics, and bar girls get tested very often. I don't know how true this is, but it certainly put my mind at rest. I decided to hang about Patong for a few days, but funds were running low. Hotel prices plus clinic fees had burnt through my cash and I foolishly had left my bank cards back in Hua Hin. I still needed fuel for the bike and enough to pay for accommodation on my way back. I did have enough for a few cheap Charlie nights out though. 2 beers plus 1 ladies' drink per night was my maximum. I hung about at the O-Top Beer Bar complex. I had a nice time sipping beers and people watching. I explained to the girls straight away that I had no money, so not to waste their time on me. But they still chatted with me. On my last night, the bar manager gave me a few free beers, and one of the bar girls I took a shine to me. She also bought me a few beers and a big bowl of food. I was overwhelmed by their generosity once they no longer saw me as a potential customer. They did tease me a lot, knowing I couldn't afford the bar fine, but that was all part of the fun. Lessons from my trip. 1. Hua Hin is not my sort of place. 2. Excessive drinking and bar girls is a bad combination. Pick only one vice per night. 3. Always use protection, for not all bar girls are money grabbers. It probably comes as no surprise that I tested negative when I came back. I have also booked flights back to Thailand for later in the year, this time to get stuck into the nightlife. Right, I'll just, if you haven't been to Hua Hin before, I'll just give you a little bit of a lowdown on it. So if you're one of those guys who come to Thailand and all you want to do is go out drinking and bar fine girls every night and you want that party atmosphere, don't go to Hua Hin, go to Pattaya, okay? But Hua Hin is more of a more relaxed place. You can find a bit of that here and there, but like the guy says, the quality is not what you'd get in Pattaya, but it suits a lot of people. I like Hua Hin. When you've been here a long time or you live here, you get to know the town, which a tourist wouldn't really discover in just a week or two. It is a great place to live. There is a bit of that sort of thing going on, but it's a much more quieter town. There's a lot of retired expats down there, especially Sweden, Dutch, that sort of thing. And it's a big pool team. They have a pool league, and there's a lot of golfing down there in Hua Hin. So if you've never been there, it's worth a visit, but it might be a bit boring to some people, especially younger guys. Okay, right, let's jump into our third and final story today. Hi Peter, here is the story of my recent 10-day trip to Thailand. I am married to a lovely Thai woman for a little over 13 years and have been a regular visitor to Thailand for just as long. I was in Thailand recently because we are currently building a house there, something that I said I would never do, but there you go, plans change. The house is progressing well, but that is another story which may be of interest, but today I want to talk to you about my 10-day adventure. I travelled alone this time as it was just to check up with the builder and choose a few internal items for the house. So my wife stayed in Australia as we will be travelling in 3 months once the house is complete. Now, the first question I'm sure people will ask is if I'm happily married to a lovely Thai woman, what am I doing in the bars? The answer to that is simple. I love collecting experiences, like some people collect stamps or coins. Normally, when we travel together, I get a few days away from the family to go and have fun and meet expats and drink a few beers and play pool, which I love. However, this trip, I was alone and had a full 10 days to enjoy all the delights the bars have to offer. Naturally, I made the most of it, but please don't tell the wife. I am a creature of habit. I have my favourite bar that I have been going to since post-COVID. The girls may change, but the mama-san has always been the same. There is one girl I like to be with, her name is Mim, and we are always friends on Messenger. There is also a beautiful ladyboy that I also keep in touch with. His name is Pip. I've had aerobics with both of them at different times before on previous trips. It was a blast. Our communication online is sporadic at best, and usually I won't hear anything for a few months, and then I will get a couple of hello, how are you messages. By the third message, it's usually a plea for money, sick aunt, can't pay bills, need a new motorbike, that sort of thing. I remind them both every time I don't sponsor girls in Thailand. I tell them both when I'm in Thailand I will take care of them if one of them stays with me, but I don't pay money if I'm not getting a service in return. It's that simple and they know it, but still try it on anyway. It's in their nature, I guess. Pip the ladyboy even sent me photos of her with her mum in the cancer ward once and asked for help with medication costs. I just said no, that is the family's responsibility. It's a very slippery slope once you start down that path. Now, a little background so this all makes a bit more sense. I am 60 and not too shabby for my age, but as everyone knows, no matter what you look like, you're always a handsome man when you have a baht in your pocket. Mim is 20. I even asked to see her ID card because I was amazed. She was so young. She first started working in bars at 18. Her mother was a bar girl, which makes her second generation. This also explains why at age 20 she speaks excellent English. Mim would, like many girls, love to get out of the bar scene and has done so on several occasions and gone to work in the hospitality trade, but the pay is so poor she ends up back at the bar where she can earn much more money. Because I have known her for 18 months or so, she has opened up a lot to me. After our aerobics workout, we were usually relaxed by having a beer and a chat by the pool. Mim would love to study something worthwhile. She is a very smart girl, but she just can't break free from the lure of the almighty Thai baht. I rate her a 7 out of 10, a little chubby, but the face of an angel and a true professional when it comes to gym classes. Pip, my ladyboy, is a 10 out of 10. I have been with her twice before and she is heaven. Now, about ladyboys, a friend of mine told me I must be gay because I partake in aerobics with dudes, as he likes to say. Many men think like my friend, and that's okay. Pip has been on hormones since her early teens. She is now 25. She has a body better than many girls. Skin like silk and long legs. The only thing that makes her not a girl is the fact she has the fishing tackle and not the tackle box, if you get my meaning. Pip works full-time at a nearby hotel and does not work in the bar scene. She is also a dancer and does cabaret shows in Pattaya a couple of times a year. So when I say 10 out of 10, she is absolutely that. She was a lucky find. Some of your subscribers may be able to join the dots here and recall a ladyboy story I sent in a while back. Anyway, back to the story. Many guys have the double up fantasy. I'm also not immune, but I thought it might be fun to have Mim and Pip work out together with me. Pip had previously told me she doesn't go with girls. Mim said it would be fine as she had met Pip before when I took her to Mim's bar. Pip was okay too in the end. They got on well together. Pip got a day off work and they both came to the pool at my hotel. We had lunch, a beer or two and swam. I can tell you we got a lot of attention from other men staring at us doing our threesome party in the pool. I was in heaven kissing one of them. Pip and Mim were having a ball and did everything to give me the true girlfriend experience. I'll take time out here to explain what this all cost me, remembering this is all transactional. I am the customer and they both have a product to sell that I want. Mim was 5,000 baht today plus a daily bar fine of 300 baht for 20 hours as she needed to go home to pick up fresh clothes. She also hit the real gym before seeing me, otherwise I had her all day and night. Pip was 7,000 baht for the same period, but she only stayed the one full day and night once. At other times she was just there in the evening, but I still gave her 5,000 baht for a full evening sleepover and then she went to work in the morning. Some viewers may think this expensive or good value. I don't really have a comparison. All I know is I had the time of my life and experience I will never forget. An Australian guy I met in the bar one night took a girl back to his room for short time. He later told me that she wanted 2,500 baht for a short time. He bargained her down to 1,000 baht, but when they got to his room, she said it wasn't enough. So he went up to 2,000 baht. He got the starfish treatment and I think he deserved it. These may be bar girls, but I also think they need to be treated with respect and paid well enough that they feel like they're being there. Also, he stayed in his room for a while afterwards to shower. The girl came back to the bar and was immediately all over me, kissing me and so on. Mim came over and said something to her in Thai that I didn't understand, but it was clear that Mim was protecting her asset. Back to the story. After our pool fun, we headed back to my hotel, showered separately as it would have been cramped with three. It was still early, but time for a workout, and workout we did. I could not write here what went on in that room for the next 2 hours, except to say I don't think it could ever be repeated. It was a one-off afternoon that will forever be etched in my mind. Another shower was needed after to freshen up before hitting the bar. Walking out of the hotel and down the road with two hot girls in my arm was about as big an ego boost as a 60-year-old can get. We saw Pip a few times over 3 days, but Mim was my holiday girlfriend. I broke all my own rules with Mim. She stayed with me a full 5 days. Somewhere after day 3 was when I started to get emotionally attached to her. I know all about the 2-day rule and why it's good to stick to it. Despite it all and the fact I should know better, I went to 5 days. Even the smartest of us can be sucked in to that imaginary world. Anyway, I came to my senses just remembering it was all transactional and fueled by their need for money and my desire. I treated Mim very well. She got some new clothes, nothing extravagant. She had her hair and nails done at my expense. Even if I was rich, I would not spoil a bar girl too much, as they don't know the word enough. The more you give, the more and more they want. Mim told me how jealous the other girls in the bar were getting because she had a good customer who was taking care of her. Mim said the other girls were asking her for ladies' drinks because they thought she should share her money with them. I told Mim to tell them I was a cheap Charlie and only paid her 2,000 baht for the day. Mim said that would not work as the other girls were looking at my bar bill and would know that's not true. My bar tab was between 4,000 baht and 5,000 baht per day when I was in there. My biggest bill was just over 7,000 baht, but that included a bell ring. Beware the bell. Now at day 4 I could have been content, but I decided to add a third girl to the party. or so I thought. Enter a girl called Knock. I have known Knock for about 2 years and have always wanted her, a stunner in anyone's book. She would always make an excuse as to why she would not go with me. Knock is a real professional and the queen of the bar. She could sell lawnmowers to Eskimos or sand to the Arabs. I love watching her work the guys in the bar. She always gets the most ladies' drinks. She works the tables. The guys love her. They get kisses and hugs, but she won't go with any of them. Knock, it turns out, is a ladyboy, and even I couldn't pick him up for 2 years. Obviously, neither can the men who were all over her. It is the big bar secret that she is not actually a real girl. Knock doesn't want anyone to know in case it affects her earning potential. I had a good chat with Knock one night about the infamous 3 questions bar girls ask, and what many know already was confirmed by her. It starts like this: hello, how are you? How long you are in Thailand? That is to work out how much time is to invest in you. Have you been to Thailand before? If you say it's your first time, then you're a prime target for money extraction. Are you married? If you're single, then this information can be passed on to the other girls because you could be a potential sponsor, long-distance boyfriend. Nevertheless, Knock is awesome, and after 2 years, I did get her out of the bar just for the afternoon to hang out with Mim, Pip, and I at the pool and do a photo session with me, clothed of course. I paid her 3,000 baht for 4 hours of her time. The Australian guy I mentioned earlier called them my entourage. It was great fun, I have to say. Now, the bar itself is great. The owner is very nice and knows how to look after the customers. She bought the bar a year ago from the property owner for 1.5 million baht. That is the business only and not the property. How did she get the money? She has a Swiss boyfriend who gave it to her. Lucky girl. I recall one night I wanted to kiss her goodnight as we were leaving. She said she couldn't because her boyfriend might be watching. I was surprised at this, but she explained he has remote access in Switzerland to all the CCTV cameras in the bar and he watches what happens in there. He might see what happens in the bar, but not on the street. He has no clue. I did get my kiss in the end out there. This is why I could never do a long-distance romance with a Thai bar girl. You simply have no way of knowing how many sponsors/boyfriends they have. Thai bar girls are the best actresses in the world. All in all, I had a fantastic time, but I did notice more unruly and drunk farang than on previous trips. One night, I was minding my own business, having a drink with friends. I invited to the bar, and a drunken farang started yelling and swearing at me because I lit a cigarette. I might add, he was nowhere near my table, and smoking is still allowed there. He was out of control, and as I stood up to put myself between him and my friends, a wall of ladyboys appeared, 3 of them, and confronted him, telling him to leave. He continued his rant and was promptly taken by both arms and put out on the street. He came to no harm though. If you don't know already, never ever get on the wrong side of the ladyboys brigade. This guy was lucky. He did not start throwing punches because they would have put him in hospital. His Thai girlfriend came over to me apologising for his bad behaviour. I told her not to worry and he will probably be sorry in the morning. I really felt for his girlfriend because that was a huge loss of face in public for her. She was clearly not a working girl. Despite being 60 myself and not a fighter, I would not have hesitated to jump in if he went further, but I think the sheer shock of the ladyboys escorting him onto the street really threw him. The Thai people are wonderful and I have never had a problem ever with them. I do worry that as more farang move to Thailand, we bring unwanted behaviour. Thais are very peaceful and I know they don't appreciate people like him being in their beautiful country. I hope this is worth a read. I have deliberately omitted location and place names, but you can assume it happened up north somewhere. In 3 months, if there is more on the Mim and Pip story, I will update, but I am planning a different experience next time, as some things just can't be repeated. So I actually know this guy quite well. I met him in Bangkok once and had a coffee with him. A very nice guy. And as he put it himself, if everybody's turning right, he likes to turn left. He's just a little bit different like that. With regards to more and more farang foreigners coming to Thailand and behaving not very nicely, there's been multiple stories in news outlets online, and yeah, there is a lot of foreigners coming here now and they're bringing bad behaviour from their own countries to Thailand. It never used to be like that. And I've said in my live stream several times, you get these guys who walk down the street, we call them Johnny Bravos, okay? They walk down the street with their arms out like this, like they're holding carpets, but there's nothing there. And they're just looking for trouble. I had a guy in 7-Eleven down the street started on me for no reason. I just kind of left him and walked home. You know, he was just absolutely drunk. It's better to kind of stay away from these people. If you come here for a good time and you meet people who are trying to bring their attitude to Thailand, just stay away from them because they're bad news and they'll drag you down with them. Okay, right, that's it for this week, guys. Thanks very much for listening. If you've got a story to send in, please do. I'll make it anonymous and you too can hear your story read out right here on Thailand Bound. Thanks for listening, and I'll catch you with some more stories next week.